Alright, in today's video we are going to be talking about your first handgun purchase for everyday carry. Buy a Glock. That's it. Video's over. Appreciate it. Thanks. Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing your first handgun purchase. Now, why am I discussing this kind of late in the game? Well, I've seen a lot of things on Reddit lately. People asking, hey, I'm new to the firearms game. What should I buy? That, and some close friends who are getting their permit for the first time. They own no firearms, but they are interested in getting something for like EDC. So I figured I'd kind of touch on that and go over my thoughts, what I look for in everyday carry, my mindset when it comes to that. Of course, for you, it might be totally different. So obviously, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think. What's your EDC? So on and so forth. All right, we are not going to be talking about revolvers, first and foremost. This right here is a single action Ruger. I mean, like old school, where the only way to get the cylinder to spin freely is to cock that hammer back halfway. We're not going to talk about these. I'm not a big revolver person. I don't even own many. I own just a handful. I'm more of a semi-automatic type of person. All right. So when it comes to everyday carry and what gun you should be looking for, all right. First and foremost, I'm a firm believer everybody should just start with 9mm. It's that simple. Versus picking up something like this right here. This is a Browning 22 semi-automatic. Whether it's something like this or like a Glock 44, don't carry a 22 long rifle. I'm sure it's effective. I've seen videos. I've seen comments online. Yes. Is it going to hurt somebody? For sure. Do I want to get shot with one? Hell no. However, I'd rather have more stopping power. Right? I don't like 380 because it's non-NATO. Everything I pretty much own is a 9mm outside of 22 long rifles, which is for plinking, having fun, so on and so forth. But it's always going to be a 9mm. I've had 40s and other calibers, and I've streamlined it all down to just 9. This way I only have to stock the majority of one type of ammunition, and I'm not having a plethora of like 40, 45, 380, 9mm. It's 9mm across the board, barring the 22 long rifles, which are good for training, plinking, and having fun, teaching your kids how to shoot, pistol class, so on and so forth. All right? So, what's it boil down to? Things that I'm looking for in some of these guns you may have seen, you may not have seen. I want reliability. I want simplicity. I do not want a manual safety, personal preference. It's just an added step, and I don't need it. And I know what I was going to say, because I've heard it before in the comment section, oh, just don't turn it on. Yeah, okay, so then you don't train because you never expect it to be on. And the moment you need it to actually go bang because you're being attacked or whatever, Murphy's Law, that safety is going to be on. And you're not going to think about it because you've never trained. So if you're going to buy one because you want to feel extra safe, hey, to each their own. Just train with it. Make sure you understand how to sweep the safety off to where it's just automatic, right? It's so ingrained in your head that you will automatically just sweep that safety off. Me personally, I just want to point and go, all right? So, starting with my basic everyday carries. I'm really simple, okay? Glock 19. You can't go wrong with a Glock 19. It's simple. Yes, it's black and it's blocky. You can get them in different colors. You can have it Cerakoted. You can do what I do, just rattle can it. It is reliable. It's probably the most popular handgun, not only in our country, but around the world. It has an accessory rail for the all-important flashlight. Don't put lasers on handguns. They're just pointless. Flashlight, okay? You don't need to have the flashlight on all the time. You can have it in your pocket, just as long as you have to click it on and go. Drawbacks. A stock Glock is not going to have its slide cut for optics. The more modern ones can. This is a Gen 4, so the slide is not cut, and I'm not setting it out to get cut. I like iron sights on handguns, mainly because for me these are either they're secondary, so it's either the gun I use to get to a primary, or it's a backup. So iron sights work for me. The problem with these sights in all stock Glocks is it is black on white. They're not night sights. So if you're wanting night sights, you're going to have to buy the night sights and then have someone pop these off and put on your night sights and then go through the whole process to make sure it's zeroed, so on and so forth. Can't go wrong with a Glock. Going on from there, my other option is a Sig P320. I don't want to hear about, oh, don't drop the gun. I've never had a problem. I don't think my 320 is just going to magically go off. But I know people are going to be ragged on me about it. I like the 320. I like how it feels. I used to have a 226. Problem with the 226, it's really, really heavy. All right. Compared to the Glock, this is a lot heavier. The 320 is definitely heavier. It's a little more balanced once it's loaded up and you're good to go. I like this. I have no problems with it. I really enjoy carrying the 320. Sometimes I find it a little easier to conceal the Glock 19. Again, stock, the sights are black and white. There are not night sights on here. So if I needed night sights put on, I'd have to have them removed and put on night sights. Again, this one is not cut because I had a really good price on this one. Couldn't pass it up, so jumped on it. All right, there you go. Those are my main carries. Sometimes, depending on where we're going or what we're doing, if my wife's not going to carry it and I need something a little smaller, a little tighter to my body, I am going to opt for the Glock 43X. Sights are the same, black and white. The slide is the size of a 43. The grip is the size of the Glock 19. It is good. It does not have an accessory rail on it, so there is no light that I can put on here. I know there's adapters that you can buy to put lights on. I'm not going down that route. I carry the Glock 19 or the 320 way more than I ever carry this. The Glock 43 and the Glock 43X are my wife's primary carries. But if we're going out to dinner and I want something a little smaller, I'm going to opt for this. All right. And yes, you heard me right. That is my wife's, one of her EDCs. I know what you're going to say. Like, oh, it's her gun. You can't carry it. Yes, you can carry your spouse's gun as long as you are both licensed to carry. Like here in Connecticut, my wife and I both have permits, spousal privilege. I can carry her gun. She could carry my gun. You can go purchase a gun and literally be honest and be like, hey, I'm buying this as a gift for my spouse. And that is not a straw purchase. All right. I don't want to hear it. Now, if the Glock and the Sig are a little out of your price range and you want to go a little more budget friendly, then everybody's favorite, you can do the Taurus G3C. It is comparable to the Glock 43X. This one does have a manual safety on it. It is not an everyday carry. I've done a review on it. If I remember to link it, I'll put it up somewhere, whatever. It is good. I know everyone's going to rag on it because it's a Taurus. It works, all right? I haven't had any problems with this. I did have a little bit of a break-in process with it, and I think that came down to ammunition versus the actual firearm. Once I started running regular factory ammo through it and not reloads, it functioned just fine. So a little more finicky versus the Glock and the Sigs just run everything. All right. Another budget friendly, this is getting smaller, is going to be a Ruger LC9. Now this one does have a flashlight on it that is mounted. It is just plastic. I think just the flashlight, doesn't have laser. I've seen some of these where you can get the laser and the flashlight. Again, I'm not a fan of lasers on handguns. Flashlight only. Does take a battery. The batteries in this one are actually dead because nobody carries this. It does have a manual safety on it. The drawback with something like this, yes, it's small, it's discreet. The problem though is if you don't have the magazine with the extension, my pinky hangs off. So if you have just a flush mag, I hate that. It is a big pet peeve of mine. I do not like my pinky dangling off. So when people get, you know, the smaller Glocks that are a little more petite, and they're like, oh, I don't mind my fingers hanging off. Me, I do. I like a good, strong grip, mainly because I have broken a couple of fingers on this hand before, and I just don't feel secure holding a firearm with a really, really small grip. A new acquisition that I have not yet shot. I had cleaned it. It's a long story, but we're going to be doing a review on it, is the Ruger P95. Okay, yes, this one has a manual safety on it. It is a DASA. All right, so I like it because it is ambidextrous. And then the DASA, we all know that you can do single action, and it is completely empty. All right. Double action. All right, so as I pull the trigger, the hammer is going to be coming back. It does have a decocker, so as I bring the safety on, it is going to decock it. That slaps really hard. Obviously, we're going to do that in a safe direction. But again, these sights are not night sights. In fact, none of them have night sights. And it's not just because I don't want night sights. It boils down to I'm just lazy about getting them and sending the gun in. I think I have night sights for them, for a few of these, floating around somewhere in a box full of spare parts, but I've never really just gotten around to it. I have no problems with the black and white sights. Again, these are secondaries. They are to get to a primary. For me, a primary is going to be some sort of carbine. Shotguns are tertiary, but obviously I'm not carrying a carbine out in town, so these work just fine. I rarely am going out at night, so everything works for me. That being said, I know there's a lot more options out there. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, for my very first everyday carry, I'm going to go buy a Staccato, or I'm going to go buy a Shadow Systems. Those are great guns. They are Gucci. They are literally just Gucci Glocks. Learn how to shoot your gun first. Learn the basics. Getting a gun that has all the whiz-bang whistles done to it, without the training, they're all useless. Okay? It's the person. It's not the equipment. All right? I've seen it and I've proven it. I've gone through training classes with budget rifles with the crappiest optics on the planet on there and ran circles around people that had spent small fortunes on their Daniel Defense, their EOTechs, and all that jazz. Still shot better than them. It comes down to the person behind the gun and the training. All right, I'm not the greatest. There are people way better than me, but spending a ton of money on all the gadgets not going to help you. All right, buying a handgun for everyday carry for $2,000 is not going to make you any better shot than if you just spend $300 on a Taurus. All right, I know plenty of people. They can run circles around me with Rugers and Taurus versus if I had something nice. All right, so don't fall into that trap that you need all that stuff. You don't need to spend a fortune. In fact, the first handgun I bought as a civilian was a Glock 19 and a P320 Mark 25. I just buy what I know. That's me. It sounds kind of snobbish, but I personally don't like to buy guns that I actually haven't seen implemented overseas in war zones or like in police departments. All right, they carry Glocks, carry SIGs. You name me one military unit or one police force in the United States that is rolling around with the Taurus. Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad gun. I'm just saying this is not comparable to this. Okay, I'm just going to take stuff that I know is proven to work. Can't go wrong with the P320. I love it. I love how it feels. I love the trigger on it. I joke, don't drop it. The drop test worked fine every direction except when you dropped it this way. Having the gun spontaneously go off. I know there's lawsuits out there and people rag on it all the time. I've never had a problem, knock on wood. But if you look at these discharges, sometimes, a lot of them are police departments, but most of the time it's improper handling, improper training. I know we had locally here in Connecticut, one of the departments, a bunch of officers were wrestling around with a suspect, and the officer's 320 went off on its own. All right, and they made a big stink about it. Nobody got hurt, nobody got hit, but if you looked at the footage, it wasn't retained in the holster properly. There were foreign objects shoved into the holster. The firearm was not seated. So things could get into the trigger well, and, with wrestling around with the suspect, the firearm went off. Of course, they tried to blame SIG, and they tried to blame the handgun itself, the 320, saying it's inherently flawed, because it is the first striker-fired firearm SIG has made when it comes to handguns. And I don't think that's it. I think it's just more human error than anything trying to push the blame. So that's it in a nutshell. I gave you a couple of samples of handguns. Stick to Glock, stick to SIG. You can't go wrong. You want something a little more budget friendly? Taurus, Ruger, they're fine. Stay away from things like Sky, High Point, and all these other really cheap handguns. You're gonna have to spend a little bit of money, buy something quality. All right, don't opt for that $150 gun. If you're gonna be carrying it and you're gonna rely on it, you're gonna rely for this item to save your life potentially. You're gonna want to buy something that is gonna work, something that has been proven. All right. That's all I have for you guys for this video. It's real quick, it's real dirty, and see you guys in the next video. Hit up the comments below. Let me know what you guys are carrying, what you think. Glock, SIG, Ruger, whatever you guys carry. Best way to support the channel, always go purchase merch. All the links are down below, and I will talk to you guys later.